Corneal degenerations. First, what is corneal degeneration? These are conditions where normal cells undergo degenerative changes due to age or because of pathologic conditions. This is an example of corneal degeneration. Coming to the classification of corneal degeneration, based on the location, we can classify the corneal degenerations into axial type and peripheral type. In axial type, we have fatty degeneration, hyaline degeneration, amyloidosis, calcific degeneration and Salzmann nodular degeneration. In peripheral type, we have arcus senilis, Voges white limbal girdle, Hussel-Henle bodies, Terrien marginal degeneration, Muren's ulcer, pellucid marginal degeneration and Furrow's degeneration. We will see about each one of this in detail. The next classification is based on etiology. We have age related corneal degenerations which are arcus senilis, Voges white limbal girdle, Hussel-Henle bodies and mosaic degeneration, and due to pathological cause it can be fatty degeneration, amyloidosis, calcific degeneration, Salzmann nodular degeneration, furrow degeneration, spheroidal degeneration, pellucid marginal degeneration, Terrien's marginal degeneration and Muren's ulcer. First, let us see about the age related corneal degenerations, out of which the first one is arcus senilis. Arcus senilis is nothing but an annular lipid infiltration of corneal periphery. Here the lipid infiltration occurs in the Descemet's membrane of the cornea and also in the Bowman's layer. This is seen more commonly in 40 to 60 years of age, about 60% is seen in 40 to 60 years of age, and by 80 years of age almost 100% develop arcus senilis. This is a clinical picture of arcus senilis. It starts from superior and inferior quadrants, progresses circumferentially, forms a ring. Width of the ring is approximately 1 millimeter. The borders, peripheral border is sharp whereas the central border is diffuse, and there is something called as lucid interval of Vogt, which is nothing but the clear zone separating the limbus and the ring opacity. Also there can be double ring of arcus. In this picture we can see the arcus senilis, the white color ring, and we can also see the lucid interval of Vogt, which is the clear zone separating the limbus and the opacity. Now let us see the difference between the arcus senilis and arcus juvenalis. Arcus senilis is lipid infiltration of the corneal periphery at more than 40 years of age, whereas arcus juvenalis is lipid infiltration of corneal periphery at less than 40 years of age. Arcus senilis is not associated with dyslipidemia, whereas arcus juvenalis can be associated with dyslipidemia. Arcus senilis, as the name suggests, it is common in elderly age group, whereas arcus juvenalis is a rare condition. Arcus senilis, the serum lipid profile is generally not assessed, whereas in arcus juvenalis, serum lipid profile should be assessed to rule out any hereditary condition. Next, coming to the Voges white limbal girdle. Here there is presence of bilateral chalky white deposits in the interpalpebral area. This is seen both on the nasal and the temporal side, and here the opacity is present in the Bowman's membrane layer of the cornea. So this picture shows Voges white limbal girdle where there are bilateral chalky white deposits. Next is Hussel-Henle bodies. This is the most common senile change which arises from the Descemet's membrane of the cornea. Here there are drop-like excrescences of the hyaline membrane which project into anterior chamber along the corneal periphery. Corneal guttata is a condition in which Hussel-Henle bodies are seen and these become larger and invade the central area. This condition is called as corneal guttata. The image shows corneal guttata in which the Hussel-Henle bodies become big and also they invade the central area. Next, the pathological corneal degenerations. First, lipoid keratopathy. Here there are whitish or yellowish deposits which constitutes of fatty acids and cholesterol. The deposits are initially intracellular, but in later stages it becomes extracellular, causing necrosis of stromal cells. Treatment for lipoid keratopathy is unsatisfactory, and the treatment is argon laser photocoagulation. And these images show lipid keratopathy, whitish or yellowish deposits constituting of fatty acids and cholesterol. Classification of lipoid keratopathy: primary and secondary. Primary is rare and it is not associated with vascularization, and the lipid levels are normal in serum. Secondary lipoid keratopathy develops in vascularized cornea, the causes for which are corneal infections, interstitial keratitis, ocular trauma, glaucoma, and chronic iridocyclitis. Next, the hyaline degeneration. Hyaline spherules are deposited in the superficial stroma of the cornea. This is hyaline degeneration, treatment for which is keratoplasty, and it is done only if there is visual disturbance. The image shows hyaline degeneration. Classification of hyaline degeneration: it can either be primary or secondary. Primary is usually bilateral, whereas secondary is unilateral. Primary is associated with granular dystrophy, whereas the secondary is associated with old keratitis, long standing glaucoma, trachomatis pannus, and recurrent corneal erosions. Next is amyloid degeneration. It is a rare condition where there is deposition of amyloid material underneath the corneal epithelium. This occurs in primary and secondary forms. The picture shows the amyloid degeneration. Next is calcific degeneration. This is also known as band shaped keratopathy. This occurs because of deposition of calcium salts in the Bowman's membrane, most superficial part of stroma, and also in the deeper layers of the epithelium. Etiology for calcific degeneration: primary band shaped keratopathy is of familial type. Age related band shaped keratopathy is quite common, affects otherwise healthy cornea. Chronic ocular diseases, it is most common, includes chronic uveitis in adults, Still's disease in children, phthisis bulbi, chronic glaucoma, etc. And hypercalcemia can also lead to band shaped keratopathy. And the conditions in which hypercalcemia is seen is hyperphosphatemia, hyperuricemia, chronic renal failure, and sarcoidosis. Clinical features: there is band shaped opacity in the interpalpebral zone, and a clear interval is present between the ends of band and the limbus. It begins at periphery and progresses towards the center. Opacity lies beneath the epithelium and the surface of opacity is stippled. Later stage, transplant clefts can be seen. This is an image showing the band shaped opacity, band shaped keratopathy. The treatment for which is chelation, phototherapeutic keratectomy, keratoplasty, and treatment of the underlying causative disease. Next is Salzmann's nodular degeneration. This is more common in females, usually unilateral, and the causes for which are recurrent attacks of flictannular keratitis, rosacea keratitis, and trachoma. The image shows Salzmann's nodular degeneration. Pathogenesis: due to deposition of raised hyaline plaques between the epithelium and the Bowman's membrane, and there is destruction of Bowman's membrane and the adjacent stroma. Clinical picture: there is presence of 1 to 10 bluish white nodules arranged in circular fashion. There is discomfort and loss of vision. Treatment for which is keratoplasty. Next, furrow degeneration. This is also called as senile marginal degeneration. Pathogenesis: there is fibrillar degeneration of the stroma. The corneal periphery undergoes thinning as a result of it, and the thinning results in formation of a furrow. So, this is called as furrow degeneration. In case of arcus senilis, the furrow develops in the lucid interval of Vogt. Clinical picture of furrow degeneration: there is defective vision due to induced astigmatism, and this picture shows the furrow degeneration. the spheroid degeneration. This is also known as climatic droplet keratopathy or Labrador keratopathy or Betty's nodular dystrophy, or also known as corneal elastosis. This occurs in males who mostly work outdoors or seen in hostile climates. This generally occurs due to exposure to UV rays, aging, and because of any underlying corneal disease. Clinical picture: there is presence of amber colored spheroidal granules which accumulate at the level of Bowman's membrane and anterior stroma in the interpalpebral zone. Visual disturbance occurs in case of marked degeneration, and the treatment for which is corneal transplantation in advanced cases. Next is pellucid marginal degeneration. The characteristic feature of it is thinning along the periphery of the lower part of cornea. So, there is thinning along the periphery of the lower part of cornea. Clinical picture: there is marked astigmatism, and the treatment for it is scleral type contact lenses. This image shows pellucid marginal degeneration. Next is Terrane's marginal degeneration, which is a non-ulcerative thinning of the marginal cornea. Clinical feature: this is male predominant, seen in people more than 40 years of age. The superior peripheral cornea gets involved mostly. The lesion is slowly progressive type, and there is thinning and superficial vascularization. Dense yellowish white deposits are seen at the sharp leading edge, and there is astigmatism, due to which there is irritation and defective vision. The complication of Terrane's marginal degeneration is perforation due to mild trauma and pseudopterygium. Treatment is non-specific. If there is severe thinning, a patch of corneal graft can be placed. So, this is all about the corneal degenerations. Thank you.